Bite size. Welcome to another bite-sized episode of Chewing the Fat. I'm your host, Big Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading the show. As always, I want to thank the folks who have continued to support this podcast by buying me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com or buying a t-shirt or a journal or just sending your words of encouragement through the message board on there or writing me a message or giving me a follow on Instagram at chewingthefatbr. And of course, just the folks who give reviews of the podcast on your podcast platform and give me the 5-star ratings and stuff like that. It means so much to help the podcast get even further and to find more ears. I believe in this podcast and the message that it has of we are not alone and that, everyone has those down days and we all fight against the darkness. And the more folks that can find that message, I think the better off we all will be. And it doesn't have to do with me. It has to do with you. In a world where you could be anything, as they say, be kind. I want to thank all of my guests that have been on this season. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you haven't had a chance to listen this season, I encourage you to listen back to some of the previous episodes. This will be the last episode for this season. I'll be taking the rest of December off and then January as well, and we'll be kicking back off again in February. If you have an idea of someone who would be a good guest on the podcast, shoot me a note. I'd love to reach out to them to see if they would like to talk about their journey in life and how they are keeping the darkness at bay. But as this is our holiday wrap-up show, our Christmas episode as it is, I just had one thing that I thought that I would share with you this season, as again, this is just a bite-sized episode. The words of the poem Christmas Bells from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow just kept ringing back to me, no pun intended there. So as we wrap up this season and you prepare to have hopefully a very joyous holiday and a very merry and prosperous new year, I thought I would leave you with this. If you're not familiar with Christmas Bells from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, he wrote this in the midst of the Civil War. His wife had died. His oldest child was paralyzed, serving in the war. And as he sat there on Christmas Day, he penned this poem. And I wanted to read it to you just because of the fact that even in that darkness, he was able to find hope. He was able to find light. So I encourage you, no matter how dark the days are, look for the light. Always know that you're not alone and there is hope. I heard the bells on Christmas Day. Their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth, the cannon thundered in the south, and with that sound, the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair, I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. And that is my hope for you this holiday season, that right shall prevail in your life, and there will be peace on your earth. Thank you so much again for being here for this silly little podcast. I hope that you find some joy and light in it, and I look forward to spending some time next year where we could sit a spell and chew the fat.